Okay, this is my trigonometry in-class practice for pre-calculus, and this is number 7. It's in the front of your packet. And part of why we do these word problems with the law of sines and cosines is that setting up the picture is half the battle. So I have a triangular park. It's bordered on the south by a 1.7 stretch of highway. So if you can see this, a 1.7 mile stretch. So here's my highway right here. I've got it right here. I've got it. Okay, and then what I have here, so let me undo that so you can see what I'm talking about. And then on the northwest by a 4-mile stretch of railroad track. So right there's my railroad track here on the top, where there's a 33-degree angle is the measure of the acute angle between the highway and the railroad track. So there you see this, okay? As part of a community improvement project, the city wants to fence in the third side, so that's this side here of the park, and seed with grass. So a couple things I want you to notice. I use green for the grass. I labeled this when I got all done, ABC, and then labeled the little a, little b, little c, so that I knew what I was talking about when I did this. And I'm like, okay, they first want me to figure out how much fence is needed for this third side. So we're basically talking about side A, okay? So let's get going on this. So I noticed that I can't use the law of sines because I don't have a side opposite the angle. So I'm going to use the law of cosines. So I'm going to say, okay, a squared is going to equal b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of the angle A. So when you label it like that, then you can have a nice pattern. So now let's just plug in everything that we need. I'm looking for a squared. B squared is 1.7 squared plus c squared, which is 4 squared, minus 2 times 1.7 times 4 times the cosine of 33 degrees. So this is nice. Everything's filled in here. So when I put that in my calculator, that whole right side, I'm just going to plug it in right here, I get 7.48408. And then I'm going to take the square root of it because I really don't care about a squared. I want to know what a is. And when I do, I get a to be 2.74 miles. Now, I know I didn't tell you how to round, and I promise I will, but this is what we're going to do this. So this is 2.74 miles is the third side. So that's what they want to know is how much fence is needed. Well, I need 2.74 miles of fencing. Okay, so that they asked us what that is. Okay, now for the B part, what is the degree measure of the angle on the southeast side of the park? Well, that would be here, angle C. So I'm looking for angle C. Now, if I look at angle C, I can see that I do have the 4 miles across from that, the little c, so I can actually do the law of sines. So I'm going to do 4 is to the sine of C as, now I found the 2.74, and that's opposite to 33, so I'm going to use that. The 2.74 is to the sine of 33 degrees. So I hope you notice you couldn't have done that without finding that first. Now we're going to cross multiply. So I have 2.74 sine of C equals 4 times the sine of 33 degrees. And then we're going to divide by the 2.74. So I have the sine of C equals 4 sine of 33 degrees divided by 2.74. Now I'm looking for the angle C, not the sine of C. So what I'm going to do is inverse sine on both sides. Then I can say, thanks for playing. Now I'm just going to basically do inverse sine and put that whole thing in my calculator just like that, and make sure you're in degrees, please. So when I do that, I find my angle C comes out to be 52.664, or I'm going to round it to the nearest degree, 53 degrees. Okay, so now I know the angle down here is 53 degrees. If they wanted to know this angle, that would be easy. I would just add those two, subtract it from 180, but they didn't. They just want to know that one angle there, okay? So let's look what we have to do for the last. It says how much total area will they need grass seed for, okay? So I have to actually find area. Now, if you look at our triangle, usually we know the area formula is 1/2 base times height. But I can do the base to be 4, but I don't know what the height is. So you can't use 1/2 base times height. So I want you to look at the sheet that I gave you in front of your packet at the very back. You'll see the area of a triangle, and they use a K for this, maybe because you're using trig, but it's K equals 1/2 AB sine C. which is really a side angle side pattern that you can find the area of a triangle if you know both sides in the included angle and throw it in this formula, then you can find the area. So I'm going to go back to my picture here. I want to find the area of, now I could use this side, the 53 degrees and the 1.7, or I can use a 1.7, the 33, and the 4 for the railroad. I'm going to use that because they gave us all those three. All right. So I'm going to use my area is K equals 1/2 side A, side B, sine of the angle in between. So in this case, it's a pattern. So I'm going to be actually using BC sine A just because it's just a side angle side. So really the pattern I'm using is K is 1/2 BC sine A. So do you see what the pattern is? The pattern is 1/2, two of the sides, the angle in between of the opposite sides. So see this? I'm going to use BC sine of the A of the opposite side. So this is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to plug in K equals 1/2. The B is 2.7 times the 4 times the sine of 33 degrees. Okay. And when I put this in my calculator, I get about 1.9. And you got to remember, it's square miles that they have to seed. The whole point there is you got to use the square miles because it's area. So this one's a little bit different. We haven't done one of those, but I wanted to show you that you can find the area using a pattern like we've done before. So that's all there is on this one.